Shalom, and welcome to a message for the Parsha for Parshat Yisro. In this week's Parsha, we read about the greatest event of all times, and that is, of course, the Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, at Har Sinai. Now, the giving of the Torah, Har Sinai, of course, we received the entire Torah. That is, everything that we have in the Torah, both the written law, the oral law, everything really is included there. However, what Hashem gave us vocally, in other words, what we actually heard, and within that contains everything in the Torah, but what we actually heard are the 10 Commandments. The first one being about the fundamental belief in God. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God, there is no other gods. That's the positive commandment of believing in God, of studying about God, of getting to know who God is. And then the 10 Commandments culminate with Lo Sachmot. You should not covet. You should not be jealous of your neighbor's property, of what another person has, of the other person's spouse. You should not be jealous of them. You should be happy with what you have. Now we know there's a rule in the Torah, especially as it's highlighted in the Kabbalah, that na'utz tchilatan b'sofan v'sofan b'tchilatan. In English, that there's a connection. Na'utz means almost like stuck. They're integrated. The end and the beginning of the end. In other words, when it comes to matters of Torah, since the Torah is the Torah emet, the Torah of truth, everything is seamless. It's not like a bunch of little pieces of a puzzle that can fall apart, but rather and be separated. Rather, everything connects to one another, even the beginning all the way to the end. Everything has a connection. The question is, what is the seamless connection between the beginning of the 10 Commandments, the very first one, and the very last one? It's obvious that if Hashem made it so, that this should be the beginning, this should be the end, that means that's where they come back around in a circle and become seamless and connect. What is the connection? Well, think of it this way. This is the answer. And this can be a very good lesson in life, and an important lesson in life. You see, really the question could be asked, what do you mean with this commandment? Hashem, what does it really mean? I'm a human being. I see somebody has a nicer piece of jewelry than I have. I see somebody has a nicer car. I see somebody's wearing a nicer suit. I mean, come on. It's just an instinct. It's just a natural human thing that I get jealous. Now, if I act on it, I understand you tell me, listen, don't act on it. Don't break into your neighbor's home and steal, that beautiful car out of his garage. Don't break into your neighbor's home and steal that beautiful piece of jewelry that you happen to envy. Okay, I'm a decent person. I have morals. I have ethics. I'm not going to do it. But to tell me that I shouldn't even have that feeling in my heart, at least for a moment, and say, I wish I had that. Why don't I have that? Why does that person have it? What's so wrong with that? Here's where the answer comes. That seamless connection to the very beginning of the 10 Commandments. That fundamental commandment, perhaps the most important one, of belief in God. Now, obviously, in order to accept the commandments in the first place, one needs to have a basic, elementary belief in God. Otherwise, you say, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in His commandments. So what then is the commandment? What then is the meaning behind this commandment of you should believe in the one God? I'm the God that took you out of Egypt. The idea of it is the real order of observance of this is that one needs to delve into it. One needs to really deeply contemplate this idea, and it has to become more and more and more infused in one's mind how everything is Hashem. Not just there's a God out there, but that there is one God, and this one God controls and is intimately involved in every detail and every aspect of what happens in the world. The world does not run itself. The world doesn't happen by itself. When one grows in the quote, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am your God. In other words, one grows in the belief and the appreciation of divine providence, how everything and anything happens because of Hashem. Then that helps one overcome that human instinct of jealousy. Because you understand, you appreciate more and more how everything happens because of Hashem. So what you have or what you don't have is because of Hashem. What you have, you're meant to have because of Hashem. And what you don't have, you weren't meant to have because that's how Hashem wills it. That is the connection, that seamless connection between the first and the last of the Ten Commandments.